Users are alleging that LinkedIn has been collecting information on browser extensions in their actual browsers when they visit LinkedIn. Now, we all know that tracking happens, cookies, advertising, and things like that. So we're not new to the idea of websites taking information, but I'll tell you what, Dustin, as someone who pays for the hellscape that is LinkedIn every month, my first reaction was the audacity, right? Because I'm already giving you actual money. Why are you still taking more of my identity and scraping
Mhm.
things? But it's interesting that this has made people so upset that they've put together a class action. What are your thoughts when you see this type of thing? And what do you think is kind of the first thing that comes to your mind as far as why is this happening now?
Well, judging by the number of calls I get, cold calls I get on my personal phone number from people who have somehow purchased my information from LinkedIn, at least that's what they say on the phone. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe we're just done being called by people for things that we don't need or don't even aren't a part of. I get called for cloud security stuff all the like, hey, let's talk about your cloud security. I'm like, I don't control any of that in my organization. And then of course it's, well, can you tell me who does? And it's no. Goodbye. Don't call this number ever again, please. It's
I don't
absolute
check my messages anymore for that reason on
I
LinkedIn
know
because
it's absolute insanity. And luckily now we have, AI call, call screening that we can do, right? So both Apple and Android have those capabilities to, hey, can you tell me what you're calling about? And then, if you read it, it's like, I'm calling Dustin about LinkedIn stuff. Like, oh, nope, hang up. I'm not talking to that person, right? But interesting enough, like you mentioned, like, oh, there's another lawsuit. This is like the fifth lawsuit for LinkedIn specifically when it comes to taking data that they probably shouldn't be taking. I know this one's very specific, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But the other thing here as well is, with the surgence of AI going out and being able to grab basically any information on the internet, and then also with data brokers constantly just scraping your data and trying to collect information on you. And then privacy laws that don't exist in certain countries, like the United States of
yeah,
America.
certainly not here.
Right. And so for Europe, even for Europe, I'm sure this is an issue, but maybe the companies are just willing to pay whatever fines there are. Although I think the fines for the EU are substantial. So, but if a company's making enough money off of it, then they don't care. It's a drop in the bucket for them. But going back to it, like I think that we do see this interesting. I don't want to say breakdown in the belief of democracy in the United States of America, but there is a very unstable state that's happening in the United States right now. Not only that, but the privacy of the data data privacy has kind of always been somewhat of a concern to most folks, and it's something we've been willing to give up a little bit if we get something in return, right? Like a great platform to share pictures and stories with loved ones, right? That's going away too. So now what are we really doing? We're giving all of our information to this site that is usually a hellscape of political and social opinions of people who we don't necessarily agree with and don't necessarily want to read. And only for them to then turn around and take our data and then to bother us by calling us, inundate us with useless information that doesn't matter to us, steal and invade our privacy, really. And so I think that's a lot.